Hey guys, welcome back to another video, where today I'm going to show you this extremely early game and simple birch tree farm for Minecraft 1.19 and above. So in front of me here I have 4 different variations of this tree farm that all work differently, and they are just slight versions where you just take away some of the features of it, so you can save materials if you need to in the early game, as that's pretty much what this farm is meant for. So over here is where I'll start because it's easier to explain all the little mechanics. So basically the main thing that we do is we just destroy the tree with TNT as well as the leaves so we can get the leaves from the saplings. As you can see, these other ones have an item collection system, but if you really don't want to, you can just build it without one and pick it up yourself. But we don't really get to be AFK, so I would recommend at least doing something like that. But anyways, what happens is this TNT duper does not use any slime at all. It just pushes it over and then dupes the TNT onto this block. And then after a little bit, we open this trapdoor with the light from these repeaters. And then we also send a signal down here through this wall. And this wall sends a signal to this little contraption down here, which basically what it does is it's perfectly timed to push the tree logs up so that all of them can get blown up and they have 0 blast resistance while they're moving. Because if you didn't know, blocks, when they're moving, they have 0 blast resistance, so you can just blow them up really easily with TNT. And then in order to not use any slime, we have this set up, instead of just a sticky piston with a block on top, we push over this sand, and then we push the sand block up, and the sand will fall down by itself. And then while the sand is falling, we push this dirt block back, and it pushes the sand empty with it, and then it lands back here again. And then over here, we just have the version with the item collection system, and basically what this is just has water placed in a specific pattern, so all the items just flow right behind the player, and then you just stand right here with your saplings. And then this one just has a dispenser set up so that we can use the dispenser to use the bone meal instead of the player, which also has the advantage of having a lot of storage in these barrels right here. Then over here, we just have one that's a lot more item efficient. This wall stops items from getting stuck on top of leftover leaves, and this wall over here just stops items from getting stuck on the edges. I tested this for a while, and I don't think any items can get stuck on the edges up here at all. The reason these walls actually have to be so high is very rarely when the tree grows, the items inside of the leaves will just get launched out of the side when the leaves spawn on top of them. So that's why these are so high, but this should be tall enough to stop all the items from escaping. But some might still get blown up or stuck on the tree or whatever. But it is a little bit more efficient than the other one. So I've done the rates for these two right here. This one over here got to 6.5 thousand logs per hour about, and which is pretty good considering it's such an early game setup and it doesn't use any slime or anything like that. The only real thing that's holding this back from being extremely early game is these observers right here, because you need quartz from the nether, and then also the scaffolding because you need to get bamboo. But neither of those are really that difficult to get at all. I might actually come back to this concept sometime and try to make this even early game without even using quartz in general, but we'll see about that. And then I kind of got distracted, but this one over here got 6.37 thousand logs per hour, so it's a little bit slower, but you don't have to build these giant walls around it. And yeah, and then I also have the material list for all of them, so I guess I'll start over here first. So this one right here just uses a very small amount of materials, as you can see. Those blue ice blocks don't actually have to be blue ice. They can be anything that has a blast resistance of those or higher. I'll leave the Minecraft wiki page with a table that has all of the blocks and their blast resistance so you can see what you need. A couple of early game blocks I would recommend using though is something like wood planks, because they're strong enough to withstand a blast, and also cobblestone is another one that works really well. And then over here is the materials for the other one. This one, there's not really much to say about it, except again with blue ice, it can be anything that has blast resistance of that or higher. And over here, we have slightly more materials because we need the things with the dispenser and stuff. So we have something like this. Then over here, we have the most materials, especially with the blocks because of this wall. And then also, instead of blue ice, it's cobblestone now because it has to be closer to the explosion. And something like cobblestone is just strong enough to be able to do that. So now I'm going to show you how to use these. The first one I'm going to show is this one. And it works exactly the same as that one, so I'm just going to show this one for now. So basically, the way you turn this on is you turn this lever off, and you're also going to need something like a lever or a button. And then you can just put it here and activate it like that. And that will start this clock right here. As you can see, the TNT again exploding just like this. Then we can just come down here to this over here and then hit this button. This doesn't use a sticky piston, but instead of using a sticky piston, you can just move this back down afterwards. And then after you activate that clock, just come over here and go down into here and get yourself aligned against here. And then that will go into survival mode. And you can see I don't take any damage when the TNT lands. So now if I just hold down the right click right here, the tree blows up, and we should just begin picking up all the items, including the saplings. As you can see, we're already getting a lot of stuff. And then you can also just fill your inventory up except for the saplings, or just wait for it to fill up while you're using it. And that way it will just go into your chest, and you can also kind of use your inventory as storage if you'd like to as well. Okay, and then let's say I want it to be finished now, so I'll just go to creative mode. I actually already have a stack of blocks, which is pretty nice. And then I can come up here and just look at the lever again, and then it will push this piston up, which stops the clock because the redstone pulse can't go through here. And it just stops reliably every time. And then you need to come down here and turn this off. So the way you can do that is just break this observer and place it like that, instead of using a sticky piston. Over here, this one's a little bit different. The core mechanics of how to use this is pretty much the exact same, but we turn it on with the same idea again, like this. And then it will start the clock with the TNT. And then you can go down here, but you may notice we don't actually have a dispenser this time. So the way we do that is if we go into survival, you can just put the birch saplings in the offhand and the bone meal in the main hand, and then just hold right click right here. And as you can see, we just grow it by holding right click. The only problem with this is you're just going to run out of bone meal eventually, but if you really don't want to build a storage with bone meal for some reason, then you can just do it like this. And then when you want to stop using this, you can just go back up to the top up here and turn off this clock the same way as before, just by clicking that lever. And it should stop perfectly fine like that. And then this one over here is the exact same, except you would have to walk around and pick up the items yourself. I don't really recommend doing like this, but you can if you really want to. But at that point, honestly, just put a bunch of dirt on the ground and break the trees yourself. Okay, so now I'm going to do a tutorial for this thing, and I decided to actually do it in a normal, naturally generated world instead of a flat world, because this is an early game farm, and it would be nice to just show kind of in a natural world where you would build it in the actual game. So yeah, the first thing we're going to do is find an area for this thing, and you probably want something that's flat, and then also has a ridge like next to it that also has a flat space on top of it. So something like this is perfect actually. So you can just start building it here. So once you find your area, you're going to want to make sure there's at least 4 blocks on either side of a center. So you have to have at least 9 blocks around here, or you should, or you're going to have to clear out a little bit of area. So I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks from here. And this would be my centered block where I'm going to be growing my trees on. So I'm just going to break 2 blocks down and put a piston here, and also put whatever block I want there, and then a sand block right here. And I can break a block right here, and put a piston right here, and then a piston over here. I also want to break a block right there. And then right behind these pistons, just put some slabs like that. Those will be useful later. And then you're going to need to kind of go down here and get in here a little bit. So you're going to need to put a redstone nose here. After that, you're going to want to place a redstone repeater here with 3 ticks on it, and kind of dig around through here. And then a repeater right here that's on just 1 tick, and then break through right here. And then put a repeater right here that's on 2 ticks, and then put a redstone dust up here, and then break through here. And then put a redstone repeater that's on 4 ticks, and then replace this with a piston with sand so that it makes a monostep circuit, and then put an observer right there. Once you've done that, you can break to the other side of this observer right here, and then you're also going to want to just break these 2 blocks, and once you break this, you can also see if this works, and it should just do something like that. Then you can break blocks up to the surface, and then you're going to want to go back up here, and then stack up 14 walls all the way up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And that should be the height of your wall. Then you're also going to want to break these blocks on the side so that the walls aren't against the walls, if that makes any sense at all. Then you're going to want to have 2 blocks above the observer that are any block you want. But above that, you're going to start using blocks that are something blast resistant like cobblestone. So you're going to want to start stacking up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's enough of those blocks. So you can just stack up the rest all the way up to the last block up here with something like glass or whatever you really want to use. And then put a trapdoor right here. And then you're going to come back down here. And then you can fill these blocks in the back with any block that you really want. And as you can see, when we flip this trapdoor, that activates all the way down there. Then from this area up here on this trapdoor, you're going to want to bridge out 1 block. This one has to be a solid block, but the rest of them don't have to be. It's for these next 4 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you just want to put a solid block up here, and then a temporary block, so you can place a block down here. And this one has to be something blast resistant again, like cobblestone. You can break that block. Actually, you might want to keep that there so you can place another 4 blocks over here. Just like that. Then you want to put another temporary block right here with a solid block, and then a block right here with a solid block just like that. You can break this and go back 1, 2, 3, 4 again, and then you're going to want to put a solid block right there. Then you're going to want to start building the redstone on this. So from here, it will just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and all of these will be on 4-tick delay. And then you'll have redstone dust right here, and another piece of redstone dust, and then 1, 2, and then this last one will just be on 1 tick. And then you put a piece of redstone dust on here, and redstone dust all along here to this trapdoor. To that, come to the backside over here, and then put a lever right here and activate it, and then put a piston on top with sand. And then from here, bridge out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks like that. And you can put redstone dust right here, and then a block against that, and then fill in the rest of the blocks right here. So it's a nice little rectangle like this. And then this is where the repeater clock is. So you can just put the other redstone dust right here, and then some repeaters like this. These will all be on 4 ticks, except this one, which is on 2. And then these other ones all over here will also be on 4 ticks. And then you can also test this clock real quick. If we just do this, it should just keep activating, and then we can just stop it. As you can see, it's going into the loop. You can just stop it like this, because the signal won't go through the sand. So that works all fine. So now we're going to build a TNT duper. So to do that, just put a trapdoor right here, and that's going to be how we're activating the TNT duper through this clock. And put an observer down here with a piston like that, and then another observer up here with a no block on it, and an observer on that, and then a temporary block with a piston facing the opposite direction, so they're facing towards each other just like this. And then you can put an observer right here, as well as a solid block right here, and a block in between. Block down, break this, and you can put a block right here with redstone dust going along all these blocks, and then put a solid block right here. Then you're going to want to put a birch trapdoor up here, and a observer up here. Come down here, and then against this redstone down here, put a solid block that redstone can go through, just like it's concrete, and then put any block up here above that. And then over here, put a fence gate in this direction so that the fence part is on the very edge of this block. Because if it was like this, then the TNT wouldn't be aligned perfectly. So we just want to put it like this. Then down here, just going to want to put a trapdoor on the bottom half of this block. And then of course we have to put the TNT in the middle right here next to this observer. Okay, I realized later in making this tutorial that I actually forgot a very important step right here, which is to actually hook up the duper to the delay circuit for the rest of the farm. So that's why a bunch of progress has been made while nothing has happened. You don't have to worry about that. But basically, off of the last step, what you just have to do is put a trapdoor right here, and then 2 pieces of scaffolding, and an observer, and that's it. And then if you wanted to do the version without the item collection system at all, you would pretty much be done. The only thing you need to do to finish it is just put leaves like this right here, and then just waterlog like them like this. Although I'm assuming most of you want to have the item collection system in this because it's very useful unless you AFK it. So I'm just going to break this for now. So now we're going to make the item collection system. So to start, you're going to want to go from this grass block and 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks out. And this is our block right here. And then from that, go out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks like that. And then do the same on the other side. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then over here. And then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like that. Then you're going to want to fill in these blocks like this. And then you can come down here and make a little hole like this. And then also go straight to the middle like that. Then you can put some signs along the edges, 1 block from the side. So 1, 2, 3 signs like that. And then 1, 2, 3 signs over here as well. And then put a temporary block, so you can put a trapdoor like this. And then flip it up like that. And put a fence gate on this side, so it's facing like this, so that when you're right here, you can place a tree on the sapling. You can open this now. And then you're going to want to put blocks down here, so water doesn't flow in there. And then also blocks right here, as well as slabs right here. And then you can put, I also put blocks over here. And then put water in here and here. Just let it flow everywhere. And then you can break these. So the water flows down like that. And then put water in there and water in there. And then we can break these 2 blocks that we added. And then you can just break these blocks right here, just like that. And then that's 1/2 of the collection system. So as you can see, the water flows everywhere except this grass block. And everywhere it goes will lead straight to the center. And then also this hole right here doesn't matter because when this block gets pushed, the items will get pushed back into the water stream again. And then at the back, if you want to, you can add hoppers like this. So you can just break a hole like this and put a chest, and then put your hoppers just like that. Then to finish this thing off, you're going to want to come over here and go 1 block behind where this water is and place something like cobblestone that's splash resistant at the edge, and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks like that. 1, 2 more with any other block, and then 1 more right here. And this block also has to be splash resistant. And then you're going to do the same on the other side. So right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, and then block right here, and then fill in the rest with whatever. And then just put water along the edges. Make sure you remove the glass so something like that doesn't happen. So you can just do this and then have the water sources like that. And as you can see, the water flows all the way to the center just like this, and all the items will just flow straight into the center and back into this chest, or if the player's here, it'll just go straight into the player's inventory. Just like that. After you've done that, the entire item collection system is done, and you're left with the version of the farm that doesn't use the dispenser to place the bone meal, but instead uses the player. But if you want to keep going, you can. So basically to do that, you're probably going to want to block off this water so that you don't get any spilling down there. And then over here and place a dispenser against this block, and then a dropper against that. And come down here and place a dropper facing up like that, a hopper right here, and a barrel on top of that, and then just kind of fill this with bone meal. Then you're going to want to go back here. Actually, you might want to block off more water like that, and then put an observer right here, break down into the ground, and then another block, and then put an observer on top of that piston down here. You actually might want to go down here anyways, because you're probably going to want to make a tunnel out of here, because this is going to be where the activation for the dispenser is. So you would just put a observer like this, and then a piston and a button anywhere, and then as you can see, when I activate this button, you start getting some bone meal put through the droppers and trying to dispense them through this. And then when we want to stop that, you can just do what we do in the normal farm, and then break this and move this back down. Or you can use a sticky piston here as well with something like a lever if you have access to slime. After that, you can just come back up here, place a block, and then remove our blocks to get rid of water. And then we can break this block again. After that, you have the farm without the extra blocks to keep the items from actually escaping. Most of the items will land in this water stream and it'll work perfectly fine, but you can make it a little bit faster if you just place a few blocks around the edges. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do now. So what you're going to do is just come over to this edge right here and then place a block. And then on top of that, go 1, 2, 3 out with cobblestone. From here, go 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. And then build all the way up with cobblestone. And then this should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks out. It should build out with cobblestone all the way. Except for this corner block down here. You can do the same on the other side. And then also just fill in the walls at the same height all the way around the farm. After that, come to the edge of this cobblestone wall, and then place a block right here, and go 2 blocks out, and then place a leaf, and then go to the same length on the other side, so it's 2 blocks on the edge, and then build this up 3 blocks high, and fill these all in with water, so that they can't be blown up by the TNT. And then after that, everything should be done. Before we end the video though, I want to say a couple things. So I actually noticed recently before recording this, ENX04 uploaded a very, very similar video. He showcased a different, very early game tree farm that is also slimeless. And before you say it, no, I didn't copy him. I was working on it before we actually did it. But I mean, Terraria update came out. You can't blame me. I had to play that. But a couple things to compare both of ours, just for fun, I guess, and also because they're both really early game. His is faster. And it works with a lot more tree types than mine, because I'm pretty sure this only works with birch. That's the only one I've tested. His works with a lot more, but the one thing that my farm actually does have over his is it's a lot cheaper, and it's also actually a lot smaller. His is a lot larger than this. They're basically the same stage of the game that you can make them. His is a little faster if you want to put a little bit more work into it, and if you're okay with it being a little bigger. And if you want something small and you don't really care what type of wood type, then you can just build something like this if you really don't care that much about efficiency. But yeah, that's kind of it. If you like this video, then leave a like. If you really enjoyed it, then please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.